Okay, thanks a lot, and thank you for accepting our invitation. It's an honor to have you today. And please introduce yourself and tell us about your professional background and your current position.
Right. So my name is Kevin, and I'm actually a pharmacist by training, and I'm the first and only pharmacist registered in three Southeast Asian country, which is Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. That is my professional front, and I own a medical clinic in Indonesia.
Mhm.
On top of that, I'm actually exploring other businesses around the region. On the voluntary side, I'm actually one of the director in FIP Foundation. I'm also the global lead for Development Goal 6, which is leadership development
Yeah.
under FIP Hub. I'm also executive committee member in Pharmacy Profession Association, Pharmacy Professionals Association in Indonesia, advisory, honorary advisory for the industry chapter in Pharmaceutical Society of Singapore, and that's just a few of my a list of my current engagement in nonprofit organizations.
It's fabulous. How can you manage all of those positions with such huge responsibilities? It's quite amazing. Can you tell us about that a little more?
Right. So I guess it's a lot about time management. And I think it's very important that what I'm doing is something that I'm passionate about. So I don't really feel exhausted. So oftentimes when I'm doing mentoring and I'm doing a lot of coaching, people always ask the same question: How am I able to do many things at the same time? It's just like maybe Meshkat, you are in a buffet restaurant. You know, some people who love to eat buffet, they don't mind eating a lot because they enjoy eating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but those people who do not like eating, I will never ever go to buffet. So I think it's an analogy, but basically you have to focus on the things that you like, the things that you are passionate about. I'm passionate about building a business that empower the patients, that contribute back to the society. That's one aspect. And I do see my roles in societies and organization as in line with my way of contributing back to the society. So I think end of the day, it energizes me. This kind of things energizes me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite true. Looking back, what was the most defining moment that shaped your path?
What was the most defining? Actually, there was one period in time in university I was considering taking pharmacy versus traditional Chinese medicine and biological sciences. So, uh, had a lot of consideration because actually two of us were really good. They are actually from one of them from National University of Singapore, which is right now ranked number 10 in the whole world by QS ranking. The other one is by National Technology Nanyang Technological University. It's also ranked within the top 40 or top 50 of the QS world ranking too. So both of them were very good. So what made me decide pharmacy was basically the how the profession is able to contribute more, right? Because if you to look at it in terms of the feasibility, both are actually healthcare professionals, but both are actually on different aspects. For traditional Chinese medicine, if let's say we were to practice in China, it is considered one of the mainstream medicine. But the rest of the world do not regard traditional Chinese medicine as may not regard traditional Chinese medicine as the mainstream medicine. So I was looking at how the things were actually going to evolve. Like it is also a measure of the potentials, right?
Yeah.
Traditional Chinese medicine and many traditional medicines have its roles, right? But oftentimes they are not studied. So uh, thereby limiting its applications, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so which is why I settled down. There was a rational portion of me that was a defining, and once I made the decision, full speed ahead.
Cool. Thanks a lot. And when you were an early career, did you have mentors or um, did anyone influence you? What made their guidance valuable and mentorship valuable?
Okay, I guess one of my biggest mentor would be my dad. He gave me a very good advice that, you know, uh, basically, with regards to working and stuff like that, he always encourages me to learn as much as possible. Yeah. And do not just look at the income, right? Uh, the knowledge is much more invaluable, right? So he even taught me a way of reframing a job. So normal people would look at jobs at as ways to earn money, and that's it, right? So it becomes a transactional. So what he taught me was basically a job is an opportunity for you to earn money while learning. So you're being paid to learn something rather than you are being paid to do something. So the mentality change actually helped me. I went on the approach of learning, wanting to empower myself. And that made every job that I do more enjoyable because I'm learning something, I'm improving myself.
That's a huge thing, actually. It's quite great.
Yeah.
And over the years, have you seen professional development opportunities for young pharmacists change? Was it for better or worse? Especially in your region, how did it change?
Right. I guess the region where I'm based in would be Southeast Asia.
Yes?
So it's a population of 600 over million. It's the population is slightly bigger than Europe, so and still very young. The roles of pharmacists are very traditional, but of course there are countries such as Singapore where the pharmacy practice is advancing, right? We
Yeah.
have collaborative prescribers. That means that advanced practice pharmacies or pharmacists who have been going through certification, they
Mhm.
are able to write prescription,
Yeah.
right? And then we also have specialist pharmacists, right? So, which is really good. For myself, I'm a board certified in the US with medication therapy management. So I guess that's the key thing that I'm focusing on a little bit more on the ambulatory, the management of the chronic patients, right?
Yeah.
So the region is really evolving, and we are actually absorbing a lot from the developed countries, right?
Yeah.
And but of course, not everything from the developed countries can actually be implemented immediately because, as a matter of fact, the population is different.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm very sure you would know some of the pharmacy practice that basically warfarin on certain races actually they are fast accelerator, so they can break down the warfarin faster. But there are other races that's not. That's why we even have multi-centered clinical trials because basically you need to consider all these factors, right? Yeah. So I guess the point to make is that the region is evolving, but we need to adapt on what is feasible, right? There is no point in like copying everything. Like for example, if you to use something from because in Southeast Asia region we have a balance, right? We have private healthcare as much as we have public healthcare. Public healthcare is supporting certain stuff, private healthcare is supporting certain stuff. And within each country, there's differences. So with me being triple licensed in that region, I get experiences from different countries and get to understand what's the best practice in these three countries and to implement that for my patients. Like basically in Indonesia, there's even laws for pharmacies to do home care, to support, right? But that law is not available in Singapore, right? So definitely the region is learning from each other. So and that's what we should be learning, right? It doesn't mean that you're coming from developing countries, you do not have anything to contribute, right?
Yeah, that's cool. You have a very wide perspective, about three countries, how things going on. So it's really interesting to hear things like the feasibility option and the population. It's really quite good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I was just
And
sharing with a friend that, today,
yeah,
there are certain things that, even within Asia itself, I think, Mashkat, you are probably considered under Asia continent, right? Where you originate
um,
from.
yeah, I'm Eastern Mediterranean region. I'm from
Eastern
Europe.
Mediterranean. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, but if you were to consider maybe even, like, for example, I would say that, South Asia and also maybe East Asia. East Asia is Japan, China, and
Yeah.
also Korea, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they do not have so much dengue fever. But in Southeast Asia and maybe in South Asia countries such as India, you will have dengue fever, right?
Yeah.
Even if you to look at pharmaceutical products, the Northern Hemisphere people, they are considered under zone two, right? And
Yes.
then after that, there's those in the nearby the equator, and they are all considered zone 4B. So, there's basically differences. Not everything that is used in developing countries can be immediately applied. We need to really adapt and we need to create the best formula. And each region needs to find its kind of like unique selling point and how they can actually the roles of the pharmacist has to evolve to that unique selling point, offering what the patients actually need or the community needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's a really important point. Thank you for mentioning that. And so if we want to proceed with the interview question
Mm,
and interview guide, we are going to the second section of this interview. It's more
right.
about the mentorship and training because we are trying to understand the differences in between the regions about this programs and the availability of mentorship and training programs. So, from your experience, what are the biggest gaps in how young pharmacists receive mentorship and training today?
Right. So, there are a lot of aspects that you can get mentorship from. Of
Mhm.
course, clinical aspect, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you're talking about clinical aspect, you really need to be on the job. Like, for example, you are in community pharmacies, you really need to work with someone who is senior, can guide you because it is a knowledge that's built over time. Of course, there's also that opportunity for you to learn new knowledge. Like, for example, even just in the recent few months since end of last year, Ozempic,
Yes.
and the other newer generation of anti-diabetic, which is also used for slimming, has been has been actually proven to cause
Yeah.
certain rare side effects such as blindness, right? Even those knowledge is actually it's continuous. You need to keep improving, right? But the point is that you need to learn from someone who is actually knowledgeable in this. That is in clinical practice because patient's life is not something that is something that we can play around with, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The sacredness of their life is something that we need to focus on, right? But
Yes.
with regards to soft skills is something that you need to experience. You need to experiment. You need to experiment on it. You know, I'm a mentor. I'm a mentor for many of the mentees. Young, I have gone through 4 5 years of mentorship. for my juniors in university, uh, I told them that my role is to help you to find your true self.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, that I told them you cannot be me and I cannot be you. You are unique on your own. That's very important, right? And the thing with regards to the current young pharmacies, receiving mentorship and training today is that when they see someone who's really successful, I mean, even when I was young, when I see someone successful, I want to be that person. But the fact is, I can never be that person. I can be myself, and I can be the best of that I can be, right? And
Yeah.
and and that is something that we need to realize, right?
Yes.
It's we are coming from different walks of life. We have different skill sets, right?
Mhm.
So there is no point in trying to copy the person. And very importantly, with soft skill, mentorship and training,
Yeah.
doing it will be built into your system, right?
Yes. And was it hard for you when you were early career to find a mentor for yourself? Do you think that accessing to quality mentorship and education is equal worldwide? How is it
Right.
different even in those three countries you are licensed?
Right. So I would say that the thing is that sometimes mentors can be anyone, right?
Yeah.
What usually made it difficult to find mentor is that because we have certain biasness in our heart that, oh, my mentor should be someone famous, right? You
Yeah.
can learn from anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, from people who are non-confrontational, you learn how to how to take a step back, right? And there's a lot of things that you can learn, right? From people who are aggressive, right? They are actually, you look at the positive side of things, you say that they are actually fighting for their rights, something like that.
Yeah.
If you to see everything in the negative light, there is no mentorship that can work. Mentorship, sometimes the first foundation of learning new things is that to be open, to be a clean piece of paper, just be totally clean and be open to any suggestion, right? And
Yeah.
internalize it, right? And to see how that will actually impact you. And there's no right and wrong, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, right? Yeah, many times, like for example, if I were to look at uh, in Indonesia, I have some of my staff, right? They are using hijab.
Yeah.
So the hijab is covering all the way. And then for Meshkat, you are also a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
Potentially, you're potentially a Muslim, but you don't
Yeah.
cover the whole. There's no right and wrong. In different areas, there are just different practices, right? Doesn't mean that there is one flow of Muslim. Even like for example, if I were to cook my beef, do I like my beef rare? It's up to me, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
very importantly that we just have to be open, right? There is what's that? There is actually a, a, a phrase or something that I use that I learned in my psychological technique is that you respect other people's model of the world, right? Because basically, other people's model of the world is how they have been through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an impressive quote. And so, if I want to summarize, you think that we can find mentors if we have this mindset of learning everything and anyone can give us lesson from their own perspective. Is that true?
Right, right. Because sometimes, in my opinion, when we have too much emotional baggage, that creates the biasness,
Mhm.
right? Like if we were in practice, we see a patient rushing, right? I
Mhm.
was doing some role playing before. I became the very rush like patient. Give me my medicine quickly. I need to leave.
Yes.
From one perspective, if you were to look at the pharmacist perspective, come on, take a chill. I need to check whether your medication correct and stuff like that. On the other side, right? On the patient side, it could be that he's in a life and death situation, or he could be in a situation that he's late for his meeting or stuff like that. We can never understand unless we ask, right?
Yeah.
But in that in that juncture, it is only effective if we give people benefit of the doubt. Sometimes with so many biasness, we tend to be more judgmental and we could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we missed out on learning opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Quite right. And for young pharmacists looking to connect with influential figures or industry leaders, famous people, if they are really eager and keen to find them, how
Mm,
can they stand out to build meaningful relationship? And what's the best way to approach them? How can they find them? And is it good to do this actually or not?
yeah. I mean, to be frank, I also approach that a lot. Have I experienced some not so positive feedback when I'm approaching a kind of like senior,
Mm,
or someone who is actually influential? Yes, for sure. Right. There's
mm,
no right. Those are actually feedback that will improve my approaching skill. But basically, what I would like to propose is that we have social media platforms such as LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really powerful in connecting to people, and then having a quick chat. you know I've experienced some situation where people ask me, can you help me find a job? All right. And as much as possible, I try to help that person. But the fact is, I'm also a human being. There's a limit of how much I can help people, right?
Yeah.
uh when people approach you asking for uh requesting for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh it is the relationship become transactional.
Yeah.
If you want to create a meaningful relationship with influential figures, you need to make sure that there is a trade-off. There is a building of relationship. Like for example, like there was a guy trying to approach you, Muscat, and then like, I want you to help me cook a noodle. Just feed me. It's like then when you meet him, it's like, oh, so this guy just wants something out of me, and there is no genuinity in the friendship, right? Or
Yeah.
any form of relationship. So I guess use LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
be genuine about wanting to know that person, interact. It will
Yeah.
take a lot of time, right? But it will be something that's sustainable, and
Mm-hmm.
that will create. It will become something that is meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes because people just go straight. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with? They are focusing on themselves rather than focusing on how the relationship can be better.
Yes. Yes. And you mentioned about the evolving profession and how we must
Mm,
adapt to this changes. Many
mm,
young professionals feel overwhelmed by rapid changes in pharmacy and healthcare.
mm,
They think that maybe AI would come really early to their countries and do whatever
mm.
they do in community pharmacies. So this job
Right,
will be eliminated soon, or other anxieties, everything else.
right,
Everything is changing really fast. What advice
right,
do you give them about adapting to evolving profession?
right. So I'm gonna handle the white elephant in the room, which is this sort of like AI technology here. The fact is that this AI is not a real AI. It's not artificial intelligence. It is just basically still a software. If it's truly artificial intelligence, me, we will not exist. It will be the AI taking over everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And the fact is that these softwares they have their own limitations. They do not have consciousness,
Mhm.
right? They do not
Yeah.
have empathy. They do not have feelings. They operate based on the programs that were written by its founder. And because of that, it is not able to handle human emotions. Our patients are unique. Our patients are human beings. What they like is that they want human beings to communicate with them. Maybe Mashkat, I'm sure you have been in situation where you need to call the telephone company or credit card company. Press one for English. Press two for. I'm sure you get that kind of situation, right? And you
Yeah.
feel so. Please let me talk to someone. I need to talk, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Imagine that happening to our patients in the pharmacy. Press one for your medication. They'll get crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's the fact. So the fact is that our patients still needs healthcare professionals.
Yes.
If we let that fear affect us, about this software taking over us, it will divert all our attention from the most important thing, which is the practice to improve the patient's life. And it will actually divert us from the key point, the patients itself. They are our key key stakeholders, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
if you had the power to make one global policy change in pharmacy education or workforce development, what would it be?
Mm. Could you repeat the question again? If I have,
Power to make one global policy change in pharmacy education or workforce development, what would it be?
mm, one superpower to change the I would say that I think I will request to be for the training on the ground to be longer. Or maybe, hmm, give me a minute, let me think. It's not so much of a change, but I would say that it is a prerequisite, right?
Yeah.
Before people step into the healthcare profession, they need to find out what motivates them. I thought that is
Mhm.
very important because we have people who are in the profession and then after they graduate, they realize, oh, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So my change is basically for them to actually do job shadowing first before they do any healthcare related courses.
Right.
It's for them to understand whether they really like this profession because you have people who are drained, they get burned out by talking to the
Yeah.
patients. It shouldn't be that way, right? Of
Yeah.
course, patients can be quite tiring and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to balance that, in this profession, you need to be able to contribute, you need to be able to add it's a profession of giving, right?
Yeah.
Giving advices, giving directions, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't really complain that I don't want to talk to my patients, stuff like that. But your patient's life hangs in your hand. As much as the doctor is giving the prescription, the one that is giving the poison is us, right?
Yes.
We can kill the patient or we can save them, right? So it,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of concentration for us and it requires a lot of commitment, physically, mentally. And sometimes this job may not be for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So
And
if they want to be in the practice or if they want to be in many things, I think if they want to be in this profession, they need to do my prerequisite to the change is to actually not to make things easier for them to graduate, but before they start the course, they need to understand what they are in first.
yeah. So, before I ask our final question, I would like to ask you
Mm,
to tell us a memory, like a memorable event in your life,
mm,
something that
mm,
really changed you.
I would say that it would be my when I was a student, I was actually the orientation, uh, 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 freshman orientation camp director, so the overall person in charge. So, uh, what I learned is that uh, it things when you're young, there are times when uh, you do not see the whole picture,
Yeah.
right? There are times when you are very much uh, uh, focus on what you want and stuff like that. But that is evolving through over time. So, uh, uh, as a young leader, when I first wanted to do a leadership role, it was more like to enjoy, to experience, not so much focus on leading people, right? If I were to be honest, I was a poor leader back then. But over time, like so many instances, I start to grow my style of leadership. I start to inspire people. So, and last year I was the overall chairperson of Singapore Pharmacy Congress. We did a wonderful job, and then we are profitable. It's important for congresses to be profitable, right?
Yeah.
So I guess and also it's impactful, right?
Yeah.
And everyone enjoyed it. Very good rating. So I think a memorable thing doesn't have to be something that is always positive, right? It could
Yeah.
be something that serve as a reminder of what we were before and how we can become better.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my memorable part, like something that actually drives me even till today. For whatever leadership position that I do, I need to make sure that I do a good job. I make sure I execute it, and I make sure that the people that work with me understand that everything is a teamwork. Yeah, it cannot just be about me, right? It's about everyone.
Well, thank you a lot. And our final question. If you could
Sure.
give one piece of advice to your younger self, just
Right.
starting in pharmacy, what would it
Right.
be?
Oh, party more. Yeah. I was very much focused on doing a lot of side jobs. I should have joined more IPSF related stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep on networking and keep on enjoying myself. Like, okay, there's a maybe I also want to tell my younger self a very important quote that actually this quote has been driving me for the past 5 to 10 years, right? The quote is actually from Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Thomas Jefferson is the third president of America. He lived several hundred years ago. He said that if you want something you have never had, you must be willing to do something you have never done.
Was deep, really deep.
Yeah. If you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna get the same results, right?
Yeah.
If you wanna, if you wanna be successful, you cannot be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you you're doing the same thing and then you get here. If you wanna achieve here, you have to do something.
Amazing. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the valuable insights and everything you said. It really impressed me. Thank you a lot. I'm sure that our ECPG members will enjoy this interview, this and it was perfect. Thank you very much. Do you
Thank you
have
very much for
anything else to add?
Not at the moment. Very happy to be given the honor to share some of my thoughts. Right. Definitely looking to value add to more younger generation of pharmacists. Uh, basically the world is changing. The kind of patients that you're seeing could be change. They are changing. They're definitely more educated. If if you don't know your stuff, they're gonna ask ChatGPT and they're gonna question you. So so we basically really need to be very to be on the ball, right? To
Yeah,
always be ready, right? And I think the challenges are gonna be even more, but the rewards are gonna be more also. So and I think basically one very important thing is that you do not have to be at the front line. As a pharmacist, we are very versatile profession. You can still be contributing to the community, to the patient, even through non-direct patient care, right?
yeah,
Direct patient care, non-direct patient care. Eventually, you need to you'll be able to contribute, but of course, you still need to know how what you know
yeah,
what healthcare is all about, right? You cannot be in the not indirect, but you do not understand what you're making, right? You're making new drugs for maybe the most recent non-opioid based kind of like painkiller, right?
yeah,
So that is the new in what's the invention, right? So you cannot be producing something that you do not understand about, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So you need to be able to relate it so that you can value at the end of the day if you're in indirect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for your time, your
It's
expertise,
my
and everything. And it was a real honor. I will stop the
right.
recording now and